Probably not the intro you were expecting to this video, but drag strips, burnouts, hot pants and general 70s racing nostalgia was certainly the inspiration behind the Bell Eliminator helmet.
Shake it back.
And those influences are immediately obvious when you take a look at the Eliminator. For motorcycle use, the eyeport needs to be bigger than it would be for car racing, but Bell have certainly created a stunning looking helmet. Before I talk about what the helmet's actually like to ride in, let's cover off some of the technical details. The shell is a fiberglass composite. If you want to spend a bit more money, actually quite a bit more money, then you can buy a full carbon version of this. As far as I can see from looking online, there are 11 colorways to the Eliminator, although some of those may not be available in all countries. It has 7 size fittings, and those 7 size fittings are covered with 3 different shell sizes. The helmet features a fully removable and replaceable antibacterial lining. It has really comfortable contoured cheek pads, and there are recesses in the EPS liner to take speakers for comms units. It features a traditional double D-ring chin strap with a nice magnetic clasp for the retaining strap. When it comes to the visor, Bell have used their new Pro Vision version, and you've got a really nice big wide eye port with it. The Pro Vision visor optically is class 1, but what sets it aside is the built-in secondary layer of anti-fog device. So much like a pin lock, this is another part of the visor that sits inside, creating that air gap in between, which stops it from steaming up. If you're familiar with pin locks, it's a very similar system to that, but instead of sitting on pins, it's adhered to the inside of the visor. So it comes pre-fitted. As soon as you take it out of the box, you're ready to go. The obvious thing to talk about is the venting on this helmet. It is all active venting. There's no way of closing off any of that, with the exception of these rivet vents in the top, and we'll touch that on that in a second. But you've got 2 vents at the bottom here, 2 small vents under the visor. So they do flow a ton of air. Same with these, completely open. On cold days, which I found is the only opportunity I've had to ride this, that's not so good, but Bell do have a solution for that. And the solution to that comes from a plastic guard that just snaps into the holes on the top. It's got a small foam gasket on it just to create a nice seal. Now this is a little bit of a tight fit, but you can just snap it in. There's 2 prongs in the center that snap that into place, and that stops any of the air, or indeed, more importantly, any of the water and the rain coming in to those holes. I'm not sure if this is available in the UK at this point, but in the US, if you want the full NASCAR look, there is a forced air kit, and there's also a forced air version of the helmet. If you just want to look like Ricky Bobby when you're on your bike, then you can buy that kit as well. In terms of other accessories, well, there are different coloured visors. You can also get a tinted top cover to match that as well if you want to. And just going back to the visor quickly, one thing I forgot to mention was the little press stud lock at the bottom. Nice and simple, you just push it down, clip it over and it's locked, and then you just pull the tab out and lift that over the top to clear it. Nice and simple, it doesn't really need anything more than that, and it's nice and discreet and out of the way down here at the bottom of the visor. One other thing to mention about the visor, there is no quick release. It's a very simple mechanism, but you do need to carry tools with you to undo the 2 or actually 4 Allen bolts to be able to remove the visor and switch that over. But Bell have provided in the box a small magnetic screwdriver which covers off all of these, and it is very simple. You've just got a large Allen key, which is the main visor section, and then you've got 2 smaller Allen bolts, which are the tensioners for this ratchet movement. So obviously the tighter you do them up, the harder it is to lift the visor up and down. Now, although there is no quick release option, this is really simple. There's no complicated clips or bits and pieces to undo. It is just a little bit more fiddly. So if you do want to carry a spare shade or take this shade off and wear it with goggles, then at least you have got this little tool. One other accessory I forgot to mention was there is a peak available for this helmet, and that peak mounts to the visor mounting point. So no snaps on the front. You take the visor off, you mount it onto there, and you've got a nice solid peak if you want to wear it with goggles or sunglasses. Obviously you can't use the peak and the visor at the same time. The helmet is a traditional Bell intermediate oval head shape, and I think it fits pretty true to size. A little bit rounder than something like a Shoei I've found generally, but it's certainly a much more generic fit than something like the Bullet. So from a technical standpoint, there's not much more I can really cover off. The bit you're going to be interested in is what's it actually like to ride in. Now, I only managed to get a short amount of footage before the coronavirus lockdown, so I couldn't quite do as much as I wanted to. I had a quick lap with the dark visor and the dark cover and the clear visor and the clear cover. I have been riding in it for a few weeks off and on, so I can give you a tried and tested rider review. I just don't have a lot of film footage for it because I didn't pull my finger out quickly enough to get that done before things went south, but hey, we couldn't really predict what was going to happen. So in use, the things that people generally want to know is how noisy is it, what's the vision like, what's the airflow like, and is it heavy? So let's cover those off in order. Let's take the first one of those, noise, and actually it's nowhere near as bad as I was expecting. I'd kind of based that on the Bullet, which I found to be much like riding with a bucket on my head, but I guess that's because it didn't really fit me that well. This is actually much better than that. I rode on a Triumph Street Scrambler, so a naked bike, and I had no real problems with noise. You're going to get some wind noise, obviously. Any vents that you add to a helmet is going to add noise, and obviously with the 9 vents on the top and the permanently open vents on the chin bar, you will get more noise. Vision wise, well, the visor is very good, optically very clear. I had no issues with steaming up, despite the fact obviously I didn't ride it in the rain. The gasket around the opening creates a nice seal. Shoulder checks are good, no problems with vision at all. Thirdly is airflow, and make no mistake, this helmet flows a ton of air. The first time I wore it was actually quite a cold day. I only went out for a short ride. Luckily I had quite a thick neck tube on because I was able to pull that up over my nose to try to stop my face from freezing and falling off. It is certainly for me a spring, summer, autumn, or if you're living in a warm climate, it's a perfect helmet for that. In terms of wearing it all year round in the UK, well, you've got the cover to keep the rain and the wind out of the top, but you will need to wear some kind of face mask underneath it or a big thick neck tube just to try and keep your face warm. In the summer though, and I'm hoping we do get to ride at some point later in this summer, this is going to be a fantastic helmet for riding in warm weather conditions. And lastly is the weight. Large comes in at about 1,300 grams. If you buy the carbon version, if you want to shell out that extra $1 for that, that gets even lighter still. So it's not bad for where it is for that fiberglass composite construction. It feels very balanced. It's a nice comfortable helmet to wear. There's no weird drags when you're doing shoulder checks. I didn't even find that there was that much turbulence when I tried it on my Tiger with the screen. And although it isn't fitted with a chin curtain as standard, or I think there is an accessory, I didn't get too much wind coming under the helmet and creating more noise and more turbulence. Now, I didn't think I was going to like this helmet before I got my hands on it, but having ridden in it for a couple of weeks, it's won me over. It's a really nice helmet, looks fantastic. And if I do get the chance in the summer to be riding a custom or a retro bike, this is the helmet that will probably be going on my head quite frequently. So I hope you found it useful. If you've got any comments or questions, or if there's anything I may have forgotten to cover, then ask me in the comment section down below. And all that leaves me to say, as usual, is until next time, thanks for watching. Take care, ride safe. Depending on when you're watching this, stay at home, and I'll see you soon. Bye.